Okay.
All right, well, let's get started. Hey, it's super exciting to be here with you guys tonight, and it's really fun to do a collaborative event like this. So thank you guys for inviting us in and letting us share what Claudia and I worked together on for our breakout session at National Conference on Time Management. And, you know, we really want to share practical tips with you tonight and tricks that really do help you get more done and will help you create space in your life for everything that matters to you, such as your family, friends, your business, your health, your hobbies, and more. So you really can make time for what's most important to you and have a fantastic business with some intentional planning and scheduling. But before we get started, since we all don't know one another, let me introduce Claudia to anyone that's not familiar with her. Claudia has been in business with Pampered Chef for 8 years, starting when she was 24 years old. She had actually just moved from Germany at that time, her hometown in Germany, and she really had no idea then what Pampered Chef was. She's currently the youngest senior executive director, a trifecta excellence award achiever multiple years in a row, a top 5 recruiter multiple times, and is known at the home office for a fast-paced growth team called, as you all know, the Bazaar Bullet Train.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. So hi, everybody. It's so fun to work with another team and hope that we can give you guys some really good tips about time management. So thanks, Tracy, for that. So for those of you that don't know Tracy, Tracy's an executive director that started her Pampered Chef business 16 years ago when her kids were small. She had hosted several shows and loved the products very much, but had never considered becoming a consultant until she wanted to provide activities and lessons for the girls, whom she was homeschooling at that time. She was very reluctant to try direct sales, but decided to give it a go so that she could have a flexible work schedule. She's achieved excellence awards in various categories multiple times throughout her career and has earned a trip with Pampered Chef every year she's been in business. She stays in Pampered Chef now because she wants to continue to travel as well as help launch her children by paying for their college education so they can start their adult life, free of debt. So personal productivity and time management wasn't always neither mine or Tracy's forte, okay? In fact, it took some pretty serious aha moments for each of us to decide we had to get serious about managing our time if we were going to have and want a strong business.
Yes, that is definitely the case. As Claudia mentioned, when I started my business, I was homeschooling my 3 little girls, and I had to be very focused then at how I spent my time every day. And my rule was that I didn't work on Pampered Chef or answer phone calls or emails. Now, this was pre-Facebook, mind you, until after 2 o'clock when school was done. And many of my customers and my team members, they knew about this rule, and they did observe it with me, which was very, very helpful. But however, once my kids were older and we had them start attending a charter school, I had newfound freedom. I had a lot of flexibility in my day, and I found that it was much easier for me to feel busy, but not necessarily be productive. And I stumbled upon a quote one day that really, it just got my attention about this issue. And the quote said, "Don't say that you don't have enough time. You have exactly the same number of hours each day that were given to Mother Teresa, Michelangelo, Louis Pasteur, Albert Einstein, Thomas Jefferson, Helen Keller." I mean, the list can go on, right? And wow, I mean, that really opened my eyes. And of course, I extrapolated that to include our own amazing founder, Doris Christopher. And it really did help me realize that I needed to get back to scheduling my work and finish tasks that I started instead of getting distracted by other tasks that just seemed to pop up and scream for my attention. And now, today, I'm really intentional about my day, and I subscribe to the miracle morning method of getting up early, accomplishing my most important personal routines first, and then setting timers to keep my focus during my work routine. And so I found that productivity really skyrockets when it's combined with focus work.
Yeah, and for me, I started my business, as Tracy just shared, 8 years ago when I was pregnant with my first and a stay-at-home mom. So I really had the time to work my business when I started. However, life changed and my why changed. So when I decided to make this my full-time career, I really felt totally disorganized and felt like I was working 24/7. I didn't really know how to shut off. So working for yourself is not that easy, really, because we have so many distractions in life. So when I sat down with my upline Donna one day complaining about how I felt so overwhelmed with so many to-dos, she helped me create a weekly schedule that I could follow. I put my family, my kids' activities, the gym, pamper chaff work on there, and just immediately felt like this huge relief. I was finally able to shut off because I knew when I would go back to work. And I finally felt balanced between work and family. And it really helped my family too to know when I was working and when it was family time. So everyone was just so much happier. And it does, it did take some time to get used to it, but once you do it for like a month or so, it becomes second nature. And just remember that we all have the same 24 hours in a day, just like Tracy said, but it's up to us to decide what we do with them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and boy, one of the biggest challenges I think for most people today is multitasking, right? How many of you can try to, or how many of us, we all try to do more than one thing at a time. And it just doesn't work very well, you guys, right? You feel like, you have too many tabs open in your brain, it just does not work well. And often what happens is we just don't get anything really accomplished. Okay, Claudia, it's you.
Okay, so you're not doing the little multitask?
Well, it's kind of hard when they're not sitting next to
Okay, do you want to give them an example though?
Oh, sure. I have a feeling everyone knows an example of multitasking, but here's one that's common, I think, from working at home. The dishwasher beeps. You're like, oh, I could get that unloaded. We're like, you give a mouse a cookie, right? The dishwasher goes off. You're thinking, I could get that unloaded. Oh, wait, no, the dryer's beeping. Oh, wait, somebody's messaging me on Facebook. And we think we're just going to juggle all this stuff at one time, but all we end up doing is feeling really stressed and weary and frustrated that it seems like nothing's getting done, right?
Yeah.
You do half jobs everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It just like Tracy said, it just doesn't work very well. It just doesn't work. Okay. And there's not really a system you could put into place to make that work very well. All right. So a personal productivity system has a huge impact on our work and our personal life. And most of our failures occur when we stray away from a system, we don't have a system, or we try to just wing it. All right. So we all have so many balls we're trying to juggle, right? Family, work, church, community, whatever, right? Schools, you name it. And something will get dropped and not get the full attention that it requires.
Absolutely. So when life happens and things don't go as planned, which is often, right? Productivity often really suffers. And then what happens in our business? Well, a lot of times it comes to a full stop, or at the very least, it slows down a lot. And we often move our work to the bottom of our list. And especially we do this kind of mentally. We don't even write this down. It's just kind of in our minds. We sort of move it down the line. And we probably end up neglecting to take care of important tasks like booking parties, host coaching, following up with our recruit leads, or even attending our team meetings. And at that point, we are not moving towards the goals and the dreams that we have for our business. So let's take a little time for some self-reflection. And I want you to ask yourself if any of the things I'm about to share with you sound familiar to you, okay? So the first thing is, how about that you feel you're constantly busy and exhausted at the end of every day? But you don't actually seem to be making any progress on the things that you need to get done. And you're not sure at the end of the day where all the time went throughout that day. Or maybe you feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of work that you need to do, and you have just really no idea where to begin. Or maybe you can rarely focus on the task at hand due to constant interruptions. someone always seems to need you, or someone's always tagging you on social media and you feel like you've just got to respond immediately. Or maybe you find yourself in reactionary mode throughout the day. Whatever is the loudest and seemingly most urgent gets your attention, leaving other tasks undone or unfinished. Or maybe you struggle to be fully present. You might look like you're focused on that Zoom call, but maybe you're actually checking your notifications on Facebook or seeing how your party's doing. Or it could be that you've got an upcoming wedding in your family, or there's a new baby, or it's someone's birthday, or gosh, there's a graduation to attend. There's an illness or an accident, or maybe even a health scare, or even worse, maybe difficult marital situations. You know, life has a way of throwing us some serious curveballs, right? It's easy to get overwhelmed and stressed with the number of things on our plate at any one time. We may not always be able to change the curveballs that are thrown at us, but we can change our habits and create systems that help us stay focused and less stressed during those times. So the bottom line is, if you want Pampered Chef to pay you like a professional job, you've got to show up, work, and be productive. And in any other job, we don't get extended time from work to do daily tasks or to deal with a curveball, right? So it's time to treat our Pampered Chef business in that same way. So let's get started and get practical.
Yeah, so first, you must have a way to capture your tasks, ideas, and reminders so that you are focused and productive and aren't worrying about what you might forget to do. So we're going to share some ideas and tools with you tonight to help you capture those tasks that need, our attention. So David Allen, the author of Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity, and the guru behind the idea of having a system for capturing thoughts, ideas, and tasks, says that the mind is for having ideas, not for hanging on to them. So doing a mind sweep on a regular basis relieves the stress and mental fatigue that comes along with attempting to remember everything using only our brains. So did you actually know that we can only hold about 4 items in short-term memory and function well with those items on our mind? Until you've documented what you need to capture, you won't be able to get much done because you'll have this constant stress that you're probably forgetting something important. So we need to capture everything: our to-dos, ideas, reoccurring tasks, appointments, all of it, every single thing, okay? So here are some strategies for capturing that work, great for us, and other successful consultants that are great time managers that we know, all right? So several of us use the notes function on our phones because it's with us all the time, especially when we're out and about. Maybe you're more of like a voice memo person, right? So if so, record a voice memo to help you remember something that needs your attention later, or you could even email or text it to yourself. Now, when you sit down, to work, make sure that you have your to-do tasks written down somewhere so you know where to work. So maybe you want to put them all in a Google Calendar so that not only are your events there, but also your to-do tasks. They can be entered on there as well. And this is my preferred method. And the calendar can look really scary at times, but it's all in there. And I know that if it's on the calendar, it is not going to get missed and it's going to get done. Or maybe you're more of a pen and paper person, right? So just carry a small notebook with you that you can jot down your thoughts in while you're out and about or while you're out doing stuff, and you can just, take some notes. So schedule opportunities to work and when you're giving yourself permission not to work. So this is flexible, right? But not optional. So you need to schedule when you are going to get your work done. And then you can capture what your entire month looks like so that you can see the big picture, making sure that you've put your family and personal tasks as the priority that they need to be. So this also shows you, or it's going to show you, pockets of times you have to work your business so that you aren't surprised later on in the month when it may be too late, during those last couple days of the month to achieve your monthly goals.
Yeah, so the bottom line is that everyone needs to choose a method of capturing that works for them, right? So it could be digital, it could be paper, or maybe a mix of both, but decide on your capturing system, start using it, and you'll be amazed at how it will immediately relieve that nagging stress of remembering everything, and how much more productive you'll be when you actually sit down to start your scheduled work time. So now that we figured out some ways to perhaps capture all of the tasks and ideas that we have, we need to process them efficiently. So first, ask yourself when you have some kind of a task, is this item, is it actionable? And if it's something that takes less than 2 minutes, you're going to go ahead and just do it right then. Just going to get it done and finish it, okay? And an example of something that might come to mind of what you could do in under 2 minutes, something that needs to be done quickly, is a product adjustment. If you can just jump online and get it done, that's the best thing to do. Or maybe checking your virtual party for notifications, things you need to comment on. But if it can't be done in under 2 minutes, you need to schedule it right then for completion later on. And if it's something that's no longer even relevant, ask yourself if it can be deleted. And if you can delete it, get rid of that. And if you can't delete it, then again, you're going to schedule it or you're going to finish it in under 2 minutes. So you can also consider batching recurring tasks. So recurring tasks are just what they sound like. Tasks that we repeat daily, monthly, maybe even weekly, and batching them allows us to be much more productive. So here's an example. It actually takes less time to just go ahead and assemble all of our host packets for the month in one sitting instead of one at a time throughout the month. So you're gathering the materials only once instead of multiple times, and they're ready to go out as soon as the party is booked instead of being delayed because they aren't already assembled. Host coaching can also be batched. You can plan to host coach once a week or several times a week if you need to. But other recurring tasks might be setting aside time once a month to have your kids stamp all of your catalogs, or planning a time every month to revamp your virtual party templates, or maybe checking and resupplying your cooking show bags, or also setting up parties on Consultants Corner, or even ordering supplies.
And there also may be some tasks that we just need to give up altogether, okay? So some of these things can actually be a form of procrastinating on income-producing activities. So for example, sometimes we feel like we have to get our desk totally organized before we can start making contacts, right? But that's really not the case. The income-producing activity here is making the contacts. If you have a beautiful workspace and desk, but no parties or hosts or customers or recruit leads, it's really not profitable. And we also need to stop spending hours creating images instead of using the incredible images that Pamper Chef is providing for all of us. Yes, we need to make sure we're using smart content, but it's really tempting to get super great at creating images and graphics and yet not have any parties to post them in. And we can also find ourselves sucked into the social media vortex. Have you ever sat down, right, to check on a virtual party and an hour later you realize you've just been scrolling through your feed? Yes, happens all the time, right? You can turn off those notifications on your apps, move them off your home screen, and instead schedule time for checking your parties. It is very empowering when you do that. And you can even schedule time to browse Facebook so that you don't have to worry that you're missing out on anything. And there's also no need to come up with like brand new recipes for your cooking parties, all right? Use what you've already got from the test kitchens, because you can spend 20 hours creating the perfect demo recipe, but if you have no hosts, you've just worked like 20 hours for free, and that's very frustrating. So until you're on autopilot for your personal business and you feel confident in those basics, there's no need to create recipes, okay? So stick to the training on PCU and the recipes provided in your kit. They really do work. And the reality is that our business does have some non-income producing tasks that need to get done. However, they can be delegated or maybe even multitasked with laundry or watching TV or listening to an audiobook, okay? So do these tasks when you typically can't talk to people late at night or early in the morning. And remember that this is a family business, right? So have your family help you put together host packets, stamp catalogs, and you can even maybe get a tech-savvy teenager to tally tickets for a Facebook party and create images for you. Your family is benefiting from this income you're making, so it just makes sense to have them be a part of what you're doing. So be sure to touch the main task of your business regularly and perhaps almost daily. So scheduling a power hour or maybe a power 15 minutes, right? Depending on your season of life. I don't know about you guys, but does anyone else hear mom 8 billion times a day, right? So remember, you want to touch your sales, your bookings, recruiting, and customer care almost every day to grow your business. If you schedule it, you can do it too, okay? So now that we've talked about capturing what's important and what needs your attention, and you figured out when you're going to take care of your tasks, either by scheduling them, by batching them, or by getting rid of them because they're no longer relevant. Now let's get a little bit more into a bit more organization with our system, okay? So first of all, you want to put the task where it belongs. So put action reminders maybe on the right list, okay? So for example, maybe you create a list for the appropriate categories. Calls that you're going to make, errands to run, emails to send or messages, right? Hosts that need to be coached, customers you're going to follow up with, recruits you're going to check in, and so on, right? So your mind is not going to be able to let go unless you park a reminder in a place somewhere where you know you will be able to find it without fail. And once you have categories of your tasks and you've scheduled when they're going to get done, you're going to be ready to work, and you'll find that you have time to complete them because we've scheduled them. Remember? Okay. So many times, some of us, we can work on the go. And if you're more of a pen and paper person, again, this may mean you have a binder that just kind of travels with you so that you can work while waiting at a soccer practice or a dance lesson, right? So host coaching works really great that way. So have your host information, in your binder and grab it on your way out the door so you can maximize that sitting time by turning it into working time. Or maybe you're going to have 3 folders, that you work from: a to-do folder, a to-file folder, and a to-read folder, right? So find something that works for you. And this will also help keep, the piles on your desk to a minimum since you cleaned your desk so nicely. So scoop up those folders and take them with you, and you'll have what you need to be productive while you're out and about. Or if you're more of like a digital person, you can consider a to-do app that allows you to schedule tasks with reminders as well as schedule reoccurring tasks. So I know one that Tracy recommends is called Wunderlist. Okay, it's going to email you reminders for tasks that you've set, keeping you focused even if you aren't on the app. And there's lots of apps out there for to-do lists. Just find one that works for you. But be sure to stay focused, okay? Don't buy into the myth that multitasking is super productive. There's a lot of research out there that shows how unproductive multitasking really is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a rock star, right? It actually can create a lot of struggle and a lot of unfinished tasks. In fact, when you start something, from packing for a cooking show, checking on a virtual party, moving laundry, or unloading the dishwasher, just finish it before you move on to the next thing. You're going to save so much time.
Awesome. Okay, so to stay successful with your time management, you've got to review your schedule that you've just now created, right? And those tasks that you do frequently. So you'll want to look over your list as often as necessary to determine what you're going to do next. So you want to make sure to schedule time each evening for what we call a brain dump. And believe us, this will help you let go of the tasks that didn't get done during the day, but you need to remember for tomorrow. So you want to keep a little notepad maybe by your bed and just quickly write down anything that you need to do tomorrow. It will allow you to release those things and get the rest that you need for a more peaceful night's sleep. And if you aren't doing this already, you've just got to trust us. Please try it. You'll just be amazed. And in the morning, you'll have a task list and feel that much more on top of your day instead of feeling like you're already behind before the day is even really started. And we want to encourage you to also plan a weekly review to clean up and update your lists, reflect on your goals, evaluate what you already accomplished in the past week, and just clear your mind. For many, Sunday evening can be a good time for this kind of reflection. So let's talk about reflecting. When you're reflecting, be sure to ask yourself, what do I need to do for myself, for my family, for my customers, for my team this week? And then you're going to schedule those things, okay? And this doesn't take nearly as long as you might think. And the more you practice it, the more efficient you get at it. And believe us, it saves so much time in the long run to spend just this 15 minutes or so before your week begins. And also you want to be sure to look ahead. Schedule a time to look at your entire month, as well as into the next month and the month after that. You know, we really should be working our business in 90-day blocks, right? So we want to make sure that we have bookings and that we know when we will work. Because if we don't look ahead, it can really catch us off guard and we're left scrambling to fill our calendar with shows. So my weekly review personally is typically on Sunday evening for about 20 minutes. I look at my calendar and note what's coming up in the new week. This simple step of looking ahead at the week has been such a simple thing that has really helped me feel much less stressed. It helps me mentally prepare for the week I'm finding, and I also write down any major tasks or goals that I must accomplish in the coming week that may not be reflected on my calendar. And this 20 minutes on Sunday evening is 20 minutes well spent in helping me feel on top of my week instead of starting Monday feeling like I'm already behind.
Yeah, and remember that this is really more about managing yourself rather than managing time, because time is fixed, right? It stays the same and happens no matter what and cannot be changed. However, you can change yourself and be disciplined to make time work for you. And it's usually those daily changes that make the most impact. And just like we said at the beginning, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, but it's up to each of us to decide how we're going to spend them. And we really believe you will find so much freedom when you schedule your work and your tasks more instead of less. It's worked for us, and it can definitely work for you too. So one of the books that we recommend, and some of you maybe already read it, is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. And if you want to control your day, you should definitely read this book or get it on Audible. He says to take 100% responsibility for your life, including your calendar, and that every minute of our day is spent on activities of our choosing. What are we choosing to do with our precious time? And you know what? Everyone's miracle morning looks a little different. So for me, my miracle morning starts the night before with making sure I get 8 hours of sleep. My team knows that, right? So my brain does not function after 10 o'clock. I wake up, I stretch, drink a big glass of water to refill my body, grab some coffee, and head up to my office to check on my Google Calendar and what's on my to-do list for that day. And what my tasks are that need to be accomplished. I go into my emails, answer some emails, post some thank yous for my orders for my virtual parties, and I go into my Facebook Messenger and start answering all those messages. I send my virtual party hosts their daily tips, and I go into each virtual party and check how they're doing. And I do it while the kids are still asleep, right? Because it's my only quiet time. It's just me, my coffee, and my computer.
Awesome. So, Claudia, I really agree with you about getting a solid night's sleep. Did you know that the CEO of Netflix once said that Netflix's biggest competition wasn't Amazon Prime or Hulu or Apple TV, but instead sleep? Yes, he would be much happier if we just never needed to sleep and we could just keep starting a new episode. I don't know about you, but I didn't like that. It was like, I am going to protect my sleep. So my miracle morning starts a little later than Claudia's. It actually starts at 6:45 a.m. and I get up right when the alarm goes off. If I'm a little groggy, which sometimes I really am, I give myself until the count of 5 to get out of bed. I drink a bunch of water and I put on my workout clothes before my brain can even catch up to what's happening. I work out for about 45 minutes or so and then have the same breakfast every single morning. So I'm not even making a decision about that. As I'm eating, that's when I like to have my spiritual quiet time of prayer and journaling and Bible study. And then I check last night's brain dump list and my calendar, grab my shower, and then I'm at the computer to begin my work day. My miracle morning has changed over the years throughout different seasons of my life, and yours will too. It's not always going to look the same, but just be sure to get the things that are most important to you done first. This will give you a feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction, even if the rest of the day gets a bit chaotic. So balancing time, that's really a myth. Have you heard about that? I just want to balance my time. Well, it's really a myth, you guys. It just can't be perfectly balanced. Here's why. Because think about this. If every day was perfectly balanced, we would work for 6 hours, we'd exercise for 6 hours, we'd play with the kids for 6 hours, and we'd sleep for 6 hours. It's just not very realistic, even if it's very balanced. So some days might be heavy with family and fun, and another day might be heavy with work. If you can look at your week overall and feel that everything was balanced in the larger picture, then you are likely successfully managing yourself and your time. And hey, Claudia and I, we're all about fun and spontaneity, man. If you have an unscheduled, precious moment pop up with your kids or your spouse, absolutely you need to decide to go with that and enjoy it. And that's the beautiful flexibility of this business. But our work still must get done at another time. This is a job. And if you don't work your shift, you will not get paid, even though you're your own boss. Remember, like Claudia said, it's flexible but not optional.
So let's give this a try. So go to your handout that we uploaded in our team pages. And if not, you can just do it later after, the recording. And start writing down anything that has your attention right now. So think about maybe what happened last week, conversations that you had. Maybe there's parties that you held and submitted last week, or new parties you booked, emails that you received that are sitting in your inbox. Anything that you will have to do at some point this week or this month or next month, right? So write those down and start thinking about the next week. or two. Maybe there's parties that are going to happen. There's events, back to school for some of us, family stuff coming up. Anything that's on your mind that needs your attention and that you need to remember at some point later on.
Okay, we're going to give you just a second to finish that, but I mean, that's definitely something you're going to come back to. You can't come up with this stuff just right off the top of your head, really. There are some things that are definitely right there, but it takes a couple of layers of reflection to get to most of it. So I would really encourage you all to go back after the webinar or tomorrow and just really kind of work on that list. We're just basically saying, look ahead at what's coming and be prepared for it. So it's really critical to get started on what's going to become your new system of time management right away. So let's give you our call to action here tonight. So what we would love for you to do is in the next 24 hours, we would recommend that you maybe reach out to some other consultants that you know are pretty good at time management and see what they're doing. See if you get any ideas and how it's working for them. Maybe just capture 3 ideas from another consultant or two on time management, task management, and scheduling work. Then, thinking about what we shared with you tonight, what you learned from other consultants, do a brain dump tonight. And I realize you might not, it's getting late there on the East Coast, you might not be able to network tonight, but for sure, no matter what, try our little brain dump technique tonight. And write down some of the things that you've learned tonight from the webinar that you want to implement immediately. And just start making a list of those things. And then we want to encourage you that by next Tuesday, September 4th, so a week from today, decide what tool that you're going to use to capture tasks. Remember, we talked about doing it digitally or on paper, whatever that system's going to be for you to just get a hold of the things you need to be doing. What is that going to be and where are they going to be organized? And then start using that tool immediately. Identify your available party dates for the next 90 days and input any recurring tasks that are weekly or monthly. And just go ahead and set up a schedule to work your Pampered Chef business for the next week. And we want to encourage you to share your new time management system, your plan, and how you're going to be capturing and scheduling your tasks with your director so that they can see what you've accomplished and give you some helpful feedback if necessary. All right. So please know, you guys, you can create a really great time management system by following the capture, organize, reflect, and then engage method to help you have a successful business and personal life.
So we're going to leave you with these closing thoughts tonight. There are 160 hours in a week. Of those 160 hours, the average person spends about 56 hours sleeping, 40-hour work week, right? And 42 hours with family and doing free time or recreational activities. That still leaves you 30 hours a week that are unaccounted for. Are you using them to the fullest to help you reach your goals? Or are you wasting it away a little here and a little there because you haven't fully made a plan and implemented it yet? We all have busy lives and choices to make. So we ask, what in your life can you eliminate or change to make the most of the time that we all have? At the end of the day, the person looking back in the mirror is who is ultimately responsible for our successes or our failures. And we can't say this enough, but remember that this business is flexible, but not optional. So schedule your work, okay? And you will accomplish more than you can ever imagine. So thank you guys. And we, Donna, if you want to stop the recording, we can open it up for some questions.